Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections. I'm Sophie Bidard, your host for this special event, inviting you to evolve protection paradigms into soul divinity, breathing new life into your heart and body. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to join us today, bringing your unique energy that pours into our circle of connection. Your presence here honors the calling within you to convert old protections layered deep in your heart into divine chambers of light that awaken never experienced before degrees of vitality and awe in your body. Our guest today, Amanda Hopkins, will share insights about catalyzing this shift, so prepare for a fascinating exploration. And let's begin. Take a moment to let go of anything that doesn't serve this present moment. With each breath, feel yourself arriving more fully here. As we set our intention, may all that flows within our sacred space, be it words, vibrations, energies, serve the highest evolution of our souls and extend outward in service to all. I invite you to open your heart, yes, and your mind to receive all the brilliance that awaits. Activating your connection to the new Earth crystalline grid, and to the galactic center, the center of truth. You're perfectly held, both grounded and lifted. You are safe. You can relax. And you're ready and open to receive. Now I'm calling the orb of grace from the heart of the universe. Placing the orb of grace around our gathering, each and every one of us. That we be held in this orb of grace and infused with grace all along our time together. As grace permeates our field, it harmonizes and magnifies all that seeks alignment and illuminates all that longs for expression in accordance with divine will and the order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Within the orb of grace, I'm delighted to welcome Amanda Hopkins as an intuitive energy efficiency expert. Amanda's purpose is to help you align your ideal spiritual energetic state with your practical physical reality. And today, Amanda is inviting us to evolve protection paradigms into soul divinity, breathing new life into your heart and body. What a blessing to have you with us today, Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophie, for creating this space for us to gather and to really dive into the depths of what our hearts hold for us as divinity embodied. It's such a precious space and state to settle into within our body. And yet sometimes it can feel very elusive. Maybe we grasp it for moments, maybe we feel it at times. But there's often that sense of restlessness that is settled within that keeps us from really having that as a consistent state of being. And that really is our truth. And so that's what we're here today to open up to, is to explore what is it that prevents us from allowing our hearts to be of service to our bodies in a way that allows more of our precious gifts to come through, not only to serve our own bodies, our health, our vitality, but also for us to reach that highest level of fulfillment, which really is being of service to one another. It feels so wonderful when we can come together in communion in that way. And that is the fulfillment that we truly all seek to attain in this world. And so when we can cultivate that within our bodies, it really is a beautiful space and jumping point to amplify that and grow that and to invite others to do the same. So I'm really excited for our time here and to settle into what does our heart hold for us as information and insight, as messages that want to come through today in this sacred space that we have together.
Yeah, we're excited to have you as our guide for all this exploration. And yes, the Orb of Grace really feels like the perfect place to have this exploration. And everyone today, Amanda will also offer live intuitive readings, and she has a remarkable clairvoyant gift going deep into the very root cause of an issue. So she'll read for you and reveal the main contraction in your heart that's preventing your divine chambers of light from coming fully online. So to request your reading, press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Amanda, or place your request in the Q&A box on the webcast page and ask, what's my number one heart chamber contraction? For now, let's dive into our fascinating topic, revealing the tremendous intelligence of our heart. And I'd like to begin with asking you, Amanda, why is it important now to dive into the specifics of the heart chambers?
Yeah. We're at a precipice right now where collectively we've reached a certain level of awareness. Right? Awareness that's inviting the body to open to elevated states of being and increased consciousness that really mirrors the vastness that our soul holds for us. Right? The physical density that we have had in the body is shifting. It's becoming lighter. We're becoming more crystalline. And in that journey, we kind of have met a collective threshold now where our bodies are really calling for us to hold more of that light as our consistent states of being, and to continue increasing that over time greatly, parabolically, not just a linear increase, but really exponentially up leveling what we're capable of holding in the body. And, when we really get down to the nitty gritty, we're taking away all the fancy languaging and all the terms that come with what we have come to know as part of the ascension journey, and we get down to the physical body, some of the things that we're collectively dealing with right now are chronic stress saturation, where we are just living in stress states, not even realizing the degree to what those stress states are within the nervous system, within the body, and how that's impacting us, right? And that looks like all kinds of symptoms: fatigue, weight gain, hormonal imbalances, illnesses, chronic disease, unexplained symptoms that we just can't seem to get rid of, right? There's so many things that actually funnel down to this chronic stress that the bodies are living in, and that's because all the energy is going to the stress and that fight, flight, freeze response, rather than to the regulatory systems that keep us balanced, keep us healthy, keep us our energy moving through our body. That causes things like nervous system overload, polarization of our emotions, where it's like we feel like we have to be good or bad, or high or low, like we're compartmentalizing our emotions rather than allowing us to feel the fullness of everything at once, right? We can simultaneously feel deep grief and sadness and love all at the same time. We don't have to feel a certain way or try to deny what's coming through us. And I know, Sophie, you work so deeply with the emotions, and we know it's so important to allow whatever waves are coming through us to flow through, how they're flowing through without judgment and without even having to analyze, but really recognizing as they move through the body that we allow that and we receive whatever we need to receive from that motion. There's a deep destabilization that's also happening right now with how we identify ourselves. All the old paradigms and the ways of which we've come to know ourselves are being called into question. And that can feel really uncomfortable for the body. We can feel unsettled. We can feel uneased, even maybe shaky, like our foundation is shaking. And that, while that's not a bad thing, right? This is where we're starting to go, wait, does this identity really match who I know myself to be deep within my heart? We're talking about the heart, deep within my heart, the truth of me, the truth of my soul, my expansive self. Does the identities, whether it's as a mom or a daughter or a certain profession or a certain, way that you identify yourself within different communities, whatever those identities you hold for yourself are, I'm the organized one. I'm the one who's got it all together. Any of these kind of expectations we hold for ourselves. When those start to fall apart, it can feel unsettling. It can feel uncomfortable, but it allows us to recognize like the truth of me is so much bigger than any one of these identities I hold for myself. Mm-hmm. And it allows us to be in the exploration of what's unfolding within. Even through the discomfort, we can be settled in the truth of knowing that something's opening within me, right? So all these things are happening, and they're happening in an accelerated pace. And so our body's tendency, and especially within the heart, is to want to contract and go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, gosh, do I really want to do this? Is this going to cause pain? I want you to think about it like this. So if you have an injury in the body, let's say you hurt your right knee. And there's pain associated with that. You're going to start to maybe use crutches or a brace or something to support that knee. You're going to not put all your full weight on it. You're going to allow it to heal, probably ice it, maybe do some exercises and stuff, but you're going to put a lot of your weight. You're going to bear a lot of your weight on your left side. You're going to allow the left side that's stronger and healthy to take over, and you're going to start to compensate, right? For that injury until the leg heals. Now, when you go into this, you think of this as like a temporary time frame. I'm gonna have these compensations for a short term, and once my leg heals, then everything will go back to normal, right? I'll have my full function. I'll get back balanced, all that kind of thing. Well, what happens is that as that injury on the right side starts to heal, if we don't consciously go back and retrain our body to that ideal balance, we have those compensations that stay in place. And so we're still unconsciously putting more weight on that left side or leaning a little more to the left side, or we maybe are still hesitant to go, oh my gosh, if I put weight on my right leg, is it going to feel painful? Is it going to hurt? Right? This is similar to what we experience in the heart. When we experience pain, when we have something going on, we might have a compensation where we close off. We have a protective mechanism that maybe it surrounds the heart. More often, I find that these are really deeply entrenched within the individual chambers of the heart, confined in there in different ways. And that'll be revealed a little more as we do the readings. I'm really excited for those because that always reveals like how they start to get entrenched. And it's so fascinating to recognize different ways in which they can embed and what can cause them to be held in place, right? So we'll get into that a little bit more. But what's important to recognize is that those compensations, we start to shrink in, contract. That's what those contractions are, right? We start to shrink in and we're like, oh no, if I open my heart more, am I going to feel that pain? In the same way, it's like, if I put that weight on my leg, is it going to feel painful? And so we hesitate. And we might just put some of our weight, or we might just open our heart a little bit. And so what's important to recognize is that as we are opening up in such a big way to greater levels of crystalline light, greater levels of our own divinity that want to awaken within the body, as our body structures are shifting, we really have to be available to the fullness of that coming in. And so if we have these compensations, if we have these contractions, we have to be able to recognize them so that we aren't shrinking back in, because that's actually going to hold any physical symptoms that we have in place. Not only hold them in place, but it's going to make them more, tougher, harder. It's going to make them even more intense until we really address what's going on with these contractions. There's such a capacity, we've got the 4 chambers and they each have a different function. They are receivers, they are transmutators, they are integrators, they are what define our radiance. And so when we go and look at the nuanced capacities of each of these heart chambers, it really allows us to recognize what are the compensations that we've been making, what are the contractions that we've been holding. And it starts to dissolve the fear of going deeper into the heart when we can recognize that there's some sense of control with this, or some sense of certainty in that we can explore without being taken over by pain, or without being taken over by the overwhelming energies that come through the heart when we have a structured approach for doing so. And when we're held in a specific unified field of light that allows us to explore and stay centered in the strength that we truly hold through our heart as an electromagnetic vibration for our bodies, so that we can have that knowingness in our body that we are strong enough to handle whatever is moving through our body as light waves. And light waves can be dense light waves or really high vibrational light waves, right? It's all waves of light and sound that we're processing. And so it allows our body, when we really go into the heart chambers, to start to identify that greater capacity to manage and to assess the light for what it really is for us, and whether or not it's something that is serving and meant to increase within our being, or if it's something that really isn't a match and we let it go. And so it's so important now that we start to come and get that great clarity through the heart for our body about what we're wanting to hold in this moment now and moving forward. Does that make sense, Sophie?
Yeah, and it seems that, well, all these contractions, they really belong to the past, right? So we need to update our heart to our more like current state, and to our not only current state, but our willingness and ability to open to higher light and greater light, right? So it seems like an update and an upgrade, like when you update and upgrade your laptop, and sometimes it's a big upgrade, right? So that's kind of what it makes me think about.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, each of our heart chambers really holds a unique access frequency and portal into the expanses of our soul repository of knowledge and wisdom and light and sacred gifts, all the mastery that our soul holds for us. And so this information comes through these specific heart chambers in a deliberate way as encoded light, sound and vibrational waves that inform our body, especially our nervous system and endocrine systems that govern our communication networks. And so when we draw soul insight in through the heart, it carries the exact directives for our body to fully receive and implement at that physical level. And that's what allows us, what you were saying, Sophie, to recognize, like, wait a minute, these old paradigms that I've been holding on to really aren't where I am anymore. They're old, they're antiquated, and sometimes we hold on to these as well because they've been adopted through the familial lines, and it's like, oh wait, like I want to help and support, and so there's this perception within the body. Like mentally, we know I don't need to hold on to this to serve and support the release of it for people that I care about, but our bodies feel differently. And so when we can go in, it's like I'm almost seeing like a dial being turned in the heart where we're shifting. And it's like, oh wait, let me shift the dial. I'm going to lock in this frequency, and now I'm able to dismantle that through all my familial timelines. And now all of my ancestors, all of the people in my familial timeline, all the people I come into contact with who are influenced by my vibrational field, this frequency that I hold now helps to dismantle those old paradigms. And then, we all have free will. We get to choose what we hold on to and what we let go of. And so when we can bring awareness to that, and that's where the heart is so potent in helping us bring awareness to what we're holding on to and to getting that clarity, that actually allows us to choose from a completely different vantage point, right? And a different point of power, recognizing what we truly have influence over and what we truly can control and choose for ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said about drawing soul insights into the heart. Who doesn't want that? I mean, who doesn't want to live like that? Like, yeah. It's so beautifully put, but at the same time, it feels so real. Like in my heart, if I take this sentence into my heart says yes, like yes, like yes. And maybe it's let's just take a moment and check within your heart. How does everyone's heart feel about that? Drawing soul insights into your heart. Now, with that, Amanda, is it all about the contractions, or is there anything else preventing us from illuminating these multidimensional capacities of the heart chambers, to, as you said, act as receivers, transmuters, integrators, and so on, these multidimensional light conduits? Is it all about the contractions, or is there more to it?
Yeah, the contractions coupled with some things, right? So want to think these contractions are intelligent. Most of them are born in the heart as a protection, protecting us from feeling pain, or, there's times when love doesn't feel safe. Sometimes it's abuse that we have suffered, or sometimes it's just, being made to feel less than. And that comes from, oh, I love you, so I'm telling you that this would make you better. And maybe the person telling you that really believes it, but that has you feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not safe in love. Like I'm being judged. I'm being put down. I'm being rejected even. So we've got these protections that actually create the contractions. Whether it's somebody having power over us, or when we're vulnerable, that causes us to feel pain. And we don't want to feel the pain, so we don't want to be vulnerable anymore. So we start to close off. Or there's even times when we expand and we get really big, and then our nervous system is totally overwhelmed. And these all, create those protection mechanisms that cause the heart to kind of shrink, which is a contraction. So they go hand in hand, right? The body responds, your chest tightens maybe, or your breath becomes more shallow. The fascial layers all around your sternum, your chest bone thicken up and tighten. Your diaphragm restricts. Your heart field braces, right? Your pericardial field. All these actual physiological things happen with these protective mechanisms and contractions in place in the heart. So, even as I'm saying that, like I can see the heart, like we expanded open when you asked about feeling the yes, Sophie, for the soul insights. And then as I'm talking about the contractions, like I'm seeing where it's not that the heart's contracting in the chest for as you all are listening in here. It's more of the recognition of where those contractions exist within the heart. Does that make sense? So where the awareness is going, oh wait, okay, yeah, I see I felt the expansion, and that felt really good. And it's like, oh wait, now here's where there are contractions that now can allow me to expand more. Now, with that, when we have these contractions and these protective mechanisms in place, it starts to cause the heart to act as a sort of echo chamber, right? So it's like we might have these expansive states of being at times or for moments, but ultimately we settle into a vibrational threshold of being that matches what those protections allow. And so we start to have this repetition. You know how it echoes, echo, echo, echo. It's the repeated sound waves, right? We repeat these patterns or these paradigms over and over again. It's like we're like, oh my, it's like when you're like, okay, I've expanded and I feel really wonderful. And it's like something comes in and kind of knocks the wind out of the sails. And it's like, okay, I've expanded and I feel really great. And then that thing comes in and knocks the wind out of the sails again, right? So we start to repeat these patterns. And that's an echo chamber that lives within the heart. It's like, okay, you've reached your threshold. You can't go above that. And that's because of the contractions. And so you can start to get a sense of how these dynamics sort of come together to create a sort of symphony within the heart of vibration. So it's a sound and light symphony, if you will. And it creates this sort of space of being that keeps us confined to a degree. It allows us to open and expand, and we can feel into the possibility. But there's also that sense of, coming back down to earth, so to speak, right? And so what we want to really start to step into and evolve into, and what we can allow our heart to do, is we explore the depths of each of the chambers and what they bring forward for us. They awaken the chambers of light that allow us to increase that vibrational threshold and dissolve the protections that really aren't essential for our survival in this space and time right now.
Yeah, yes to that. Yes to
right?
that. Certainly so.
Yes.
Feeling into this.
This is a big deal because the power of our heart to create whatever we want to bring forward, we know the truth of that. Like, even as I say that, I see that vibrational truth settling within. And to be able to condition our physiology to match the yes, like you said, Sophie, so that we know when a yes comes through, we feel it. That's what, when I'm scanning, that's what I'm doing. I feel that in my body. My body's saying yes. I feel that as the weight, the knowingness. And if it's not a yes, my body knows. And that's really what we're working with when we start to go into that deeper reconditioning of the heart and shifting of the heart, and allowing the 4 chambers of the heart to be these chambers of light that really match what our soul is calling forward in any given moment of time, because that's going to vary throughout our life. Every moment's going to call for a different vibrational resonance of what our body and soul needs to match for our highest space of being. And sometimes that highest space of being is being in the depths of whatever emotion wants to come through, and then moving through that, right? Sometimes that highest space of being is being in those like joyful, bliss-filled states. So it's really the allowance, and that's what one of our chambers is. The important role is the allowance, right? But it's really the allowance of what's coming through us, so that we can open up to the sacred gifts that light us up, and that we are made to embody.
I'm making a note of that. The sacred gift that lights us up. I love it. Yeah. Who doesn't want to illuminate that, reveal it, and embrace it, and own it, and express it, right? Yeah.
And it's hardwired in our body. It really is already hardwired in. So this is where, when we get to explore the chambers of the heart, we can start to recognize, okay, it's really going into getting a sense of not just intellectually or conceptually what's wanting to come through this space, but it's really getting to, what does that feel like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? Really engaging our senses in what these gifts are and how they're moving through us. Because so often what I found, Sophie, is that we already live our gifts to some degree, and we just don't realize what they are because it feels natural, right? It's like everybody must do this. Like, it's just everybody does that.
Until you realize that nobody does, right?
Exactly, right? And not the way
Yeah.
that you do. And so that's the beauty
Mm.
of the exploration of the heart. And,
Mhm.
what it holds for us is that it really allows us to acknowledge and recognize that, wait a minute, this is something that's truly special. And then as we start to acknowledge that, it illuminates in even bigger, more potent and beautiful ways. And that's always in service to our own vitality. I was really amazed when I first started doing body work, how deeply our body really, the health of our body really ties to honoring the purpose and the mission of what our soul holds for us.
Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
Direct connection.
Which makes sense when I mean, we maybe tend to forget about it when we're in the fire of action and of being in our bodies and everything. But when you think about it, yes, it makes sense that the body would be designed accordingly with our mission, our gifts, and everything.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
um, we talk about gift. Is there more to it in terms of the connection between the chambers of the heart and the increased embodiment of our divinity? Is there more to it than the gifts? What can you share about this?
Yeah, we've touched on this. It's so important that we recognize how our physiology mimics our spirituality, right? And how our body really mirrors what is going on for us spiritually, and vice versa. What's going on for us spiritually is reflected in the body. We've got, I've mentioned the different chambers. So we've got the right atrium, for example, the small top right chamber of the heart. This is our chamber of receiving, where deoxygenated blood returns to the heart from your body. It's carrying the waste products, cellular waste products that are going to release from the body through the lungs, ultimately. But it reflects our capacity to receive life as it is. And this is, what we were talking about. Like, we're not judging. We're going, okay, this is what's happening. And we're allowing ourselves to recognize, what is my experience with what's going on? That allowance is actually our point of control. So often, I know I've done this, Sophie, I don't know about you, but it's like we try to control our outside world or things that we don't have control over. And it doesn't work. It just sometimes it even gets worse, right? And so when we start to have symptoms in the body, we can sometimes do the same thing, right? It's like we try to control what's going in the body and what am I doing with my body, and so we can start to feel like, wait, I don't have any control over the body. So then we try to bypass the body, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go out of my body and I'm going to experience my divinity and I'm going to feel wonderful. But then it's a challenge to anchor that feeling tone back into the body.
Yeah.
Right. So when we start to work with the right atrium, this is really about how are we allowing our body to receive our divinity in our physical being, in our physical vessel? How are we allowing ourselves to be with the experience of what's going on in life so that we can become that full embodiment? Right? We stop rejecting parts of humanity that we don't like or love, and we just accept it as all part of the human experience. Doesn't mean you have to love it, right? It doesn't mean you have to say, this feels great when something's painful. No, we acknowledge the truth of what's happening, right? But we allow ourselves to be with what we're going through rather than trying to change or fix it in the moment. And we allow others in our world to be with what they're going through without having to control it. I know that's something that I've gone through with my girls a lot. When my kids are hurting, I'm like, let mom come in and fix it. Like, oh, I got you, But they've even told me, no, just need you to listen. I'm like, cool, got it, So, this is the nature. This is just one example. We've got the other three chambers, but I just wanted to give an example of each of these chambers has a capacity that when we embrace what it holds for us, it allows us to become in our physical bodies the divinity that we truly are. Because we are all divine beings. We all hold those sacred gifts like you were talking about something. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to feel the
Mhm.
sacred insight, the idea of the spiritual insights coming through us. It's a living, breathing flow moving through the heart, guiding your body, you listening, your body listening, and really allowing the heart to lead the charge, right? When we have, we were talking about the echo chamber effect that can happen in the heart when we have the contractions, and that's where we hold unprocessed grief and fear-based projections and those repeated relational patterns where we get into relationships with people and the same old type of, it's like, wait a minute, I've already been here before, right? We've had that. We've all had that before, where the same type of paradigms start to show up. When we invite the divinity of these chambers of the heart to come online, we allow ourselves to be with the grief. We allow ourselves to be with the fears and recognize that so many of the fears that we're projecting out aren't even real for us in the moment,
Mm.
right? We're not present in the moment. We're living in the fear of the future or the fear of what happened in the past. And so it allows us to be fully present in the right here and now, which has no fear, right? Where
Mm.
we are in the moment. And so this is where our divinity can settle into our body. We're not jumping up out of the body. We're settling. We're anchoring the light fully in. And that opens us up to so much more.
Yeah, I'm feeling my heart expanding listening to you, as if not as if, but as the heart hearing about its own design and intelligence is like, oh yeah, like, recognizing the truth of what you're saying, and that you put things into words. Kind of, it's almost like it's allowing the heart to own its own intelligence and to expand into it, like, yeah, giving it permission to be so
Yeah.
divinely operating, right? And to be such a divine center right there at the center. It is the center of
Yeah.
our organism and of our being.
I mean, there's a reason there's sayings like "listen to your heart." Your heart
Yeah.
it's calling to you. It's intelligent. It has information and insight, and it's based on what really is that fulfillment for you. Your being of service to your soul is what also simultaneously fulfills you. It's one and the same. It's not like, oh, I've got to go be of service and then I can reap the benefits. That's kind of the dynamic that largely most of us have lived in most of our lives. Right? Like, if
Hmm.
I go put in the work, then I can get the benefits, right? It's if this inputs, then I get this output. And then when we don't get the output, we're bummed or disappointed, right? Or sometimes we get the output or the achievement or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that didn't really feel like what I thought it would. Like, it's cool, yay, I did it, but it's like, okay, I thought it'd be like, yay, awesome, wonderful. And maybe sometimes we do for a moment, but it's like, wow, like that, the process, the falling in
Right.
love with the moment, that's what our heart allows us to do.
Mm.
And that's such a pure example of divinity embodied, finding the pleasure in the small things. We realize they're not so small, right?
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
moment, every
Mhm.
moment, the magic moments with people that we care about, or even with our own self, with the exploration of our own being, recognizing, whoa, like, I hold that within me.
Mhm.
It's magic. I know you've had this experience, Sophie, when you're like,
Mhm.
whoa, that came through me. I carry that, like, it just, when we start to recognize how magical we truly are. I mean, even just if you start to go in, I remember when I first started studying about the body, when I was pursuing my biomedical engineering degree and I had to take my physiology class, I was like, oh my gosh, this body is so complex and it has all these systems of checks and balances to make sure that I'm staying healthy.
Mm.
It's just amazing and stunning how complex our body systems are. And then when you start to bring in the energetic aspects of it and how we're influenced and how we influence others, and it's extraordinary. And so to be able to recognize the potency of the heart and its impact on how we experience life and how we can actually make that more deliberate, how we can bring greater conscious awareness to what we are living within our bodies. It's so special.
It is, and I want to bounce on this, how we experience life. And I mean, many of us want to experience life more multidimensionally, right? And working on it or intending on it or searching for it, right? So what are the benefits of accessing multiversal realms specifically through the hearts?
Yeah, so I think you said a couple terms, so I want to just delineate between them first before we go into the benefits. So we have multidimensional states of being, right? We have multidimensionality within our current universe that we live in as a physical being, right? So the multidimensional realms of being, I want you to think of that as like within our universe here on planet Earth. We've got our star system and all our planets and everything. Within that, there are different vibrational states of being, right? We've got fifth dimensional, we've got sixth, which is really what we're opening up to more and more fully, as physical beings, bringing that fifth dimensional energy more anchored in. But we also can tap into higher realms, right? All the way up, to 12th dimensions and even beyond that. But we've got kind of, if you think of it like, it's not really a ladder because it's more of the dimensional states of being that we can access through our body and through our heart. But it's all within the context of the universe that we are currently living in. Now, when we start to consider the multiversal realms of being, this comes with heightened perception and that insight that's expansive. It's not linear. It's linked with our deep intuition. These are states that can emerge within our nervous system, but they expand far beyond our universe, right? These are different universes that we have either experienced maybe in past lives, or maybe we have star lineages linked with them, right? But there's all these different multiversal realms of being where we have cultivated different gifts and different capacities and different types of mastery beyond the physical body, but that also can be employed within our physicality, right? And this is what gets really exciting, because now not only are we accessing heightened states of being in the different dimensions within which we exist in this physical realm, but now we're bringing in these heightened technologies that can actually shift and influence our body in ways that maybe we haven't even mentally been able to grasp or contemplate, right? And this is something I've been waiting for. I've been seeing this for years, like, oh my gosh, there's so much that we can tap into. Well, we've got to shift the contractions. We've got to really release the things that prevent that. And so now it's starting to come more and more into practical reality, where we can start to access these multiversal technologies and bring them through to help facilitate the releasing now of the deeper contractions, the deeper shrinkages, the deeper protections that we still maybe are holding on to, even as a planetary consciousness. And bring these elevated states of being, when we bring these multiversal technologies in, now we can access even more of the multidimensional realms of being. So many of us, there are so many great facilitators, right? To bring these multidimensional energies into being, into our vibrational fields. The heart really is the centerpiece for allowing us to fully embody that at the physical level. So it's not just kind of hanging in our auric field or hanging in our energetic system or surrounding us, but we are the living embodiment of these frequencies. And, varying, just like how emotions move through us in different ways, the different dimensional frequencies move through us as waves. And they help to increase our vitality, improving our circulation, making our oxygen delivery via the blood to the body more efficient, right? So our blood carries our oxygen to the cells and then gathers up the cellular waste, takes it back to the lungs to be released through the breath, right? So we've got this beautiful distribution system already in our body. Imagine that mirrored as light distribution, right? So the heart, again, that's our distribution network, carrying out the waste, bringing the light to the cells of the body. The profound impacts that this has on the body when we can allow these different realms and dimensions of being to exist within our body as they're wanting to move through at any given point in time is profound. That's where we experience levels of vitality that we, one, have never experienced before, and two, maybe haven't even been able to imagine are possible before now, because now it's coming into our consciousness right here in this conversation, right? That there is another level that we haven't even considered. And that for me is so exciting, because it's not about denying what is already existing within our bodies, right? Sometimes we want to just get through something or just get rid of something. I just don't want it to exist anymore. But what we start to do when we are accessing these multiversal realms is we move through that which is within us. So just like you do with emotions, if the sadness comes up, we bring it up and you experience the fullness of it, and then it can release. If we've got a physical symptom, if my ankle's really hurting, like for me, for example, if I have something going on in my physical body, I go right into it. I go in, I'm like, what's going on? And I start dissecting it, right? Like, what is all the nuances? Like, where is this connected to? What's happening? And that gives me the insight. And so much of that I didn't realize, up until, some months ago. I didn't realize the way that I was tapping into the multiversal realms to get that level of clarity. But that's what we're bringing through the heart, and that's what we're bringing through now. As we go into discussion of the chambers of the heart hold these deeper truths for the body, and they allow for the awakening of consciousness that enables you to hold everything at once, holding the grief and gratitude at once, sensing your younger self and all that you've been through, and being able to let that go while you open up to your future self in the present moment right now, like allowing that to become real right now, not having to wait to some future timeline to become something, but rather embracing it in the now, bringing it into the now, right? Allowing yourself to be in that flow of intuitive insight, where it's not the mind trying to figure out or wrap itself around what that intuitive insight is, but you're just a living flow of it. The full experience of that unity consciousness in your physical body. This is what happens when we really tap into the brilliance of the heart, the intelligence of the heart. I know you mentioned that earlier, Sophie. And that creates the coherence within our body being. We're balancing left to right within these chambers of the heart. We're balancing masculine and feminine and coming into, again, our unique balance for what our soul has called us here in this physical body for. So really, really beautiful. So, Sophie, does that clarify for you the multiversal realms?
Yes, it does. And yeah.
More detail we could go into, but it would be a lot. But I just want you to get the kind of the crux in the sense of the possibility of what we can access through the heart. Yeah,
thank you. And it made me giggle at some point, but because it's kind of a giggle of truth, right? When it feels true. And what the words that came to me are like superpowers. It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
the heart's superpowers. That's how it sounds today. But as you speak, I can perceive how it's meant to become the new normal. We're just either we're not there yet, or we don't know it yet. We don't own it yet. But
Mm-hmm.
for some of us, it is time to make it our new normal, and we're so blessed to have you as our guide and our leader into this, right? To own this, because yeah, we want these superpowers, and yes, it just feels so true and real, and such a big yes to the heart, right? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Let's just take care of those obstacles and do it. What else? What else? What else are we gonna do?
So
Yeah.
simple, right? So simple, so easy.
Absolutely. I mean, that's right. That's what we need to do. So let's get let's get personal. Perfect transition. Let's get personal,
Mm-hmm.
because we're so blessed to have you with that, with your clairvoyant ability. Amanda, I love your readings. You go like zoom into the core of the issue. So let's get personal with the intuitive readings. We all want to know about our heart chamber contractions, preventing our divine chambers of light coming fully online. So to request your reading, everyone press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to come on the line with Amanda and get your reading directly there, or place your request in the Q&A box on the web. And the question to ask is, what's my number one heart chamber contraction? So let's go to Florida, Coral Springs with Andrea. Let me unmute you, Andrea. Oh, here you are. Hello.
Hello, Sophie. Hello, Amanda. Thank you
Hello.
so much for doing this.
Mhm.
What's my number one heart chamber contraction?
Yeah, for you, I'm going to left ventricle. That is our chamber of radiant expression. And so what I'm seeing is the contraction there is this sense of if I shine, I'll be attacked. I see it as a very deep pocket of energy, almost like this is going to sound kind of gross maybe, but like a pus pocket, like it's like a oozing kind of energy that's just festering in there. And what I'm hearing about this is that so much of it is an antiquated perception or mindset, but there's still that fear. And we see this in today's society with social media and things being so visible in ways that they weren't before, where people can be harsh and people can be judgmental, especially if they see someone who's like shining and happy. It's like, wait a minute, I gotta poke some holes in that. Like that's kind of what I'm seeing is the paradigm or the recognition of that's what can happen. But your heart is calling for you, like shining. Just it's like living true to self, regardless of what anyone else's impression is. Right? Like I just see that as being immaterial. It's like you shining your light is the shield for the pain that would have in the past been what other people's perceptions were. Some of this is tied to ancestral belief that if I'm not, if I am shining, if I am too different, then I won't be taken care of. My needs won't be met. That's how it's coming through verbally. So that's the belief that we want to have you shifting out. But it's the left ventricle. So this is really all about you bringing that greater shine in and allowing even more of the vibrancy and the beauty of your gifts to radiate outward through you. So it's an expansion of light that's wanting to awaken within you once that contraction is fully released.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, both of you.
Thank you, Andrea. Let's shine your light from the
Yes.
heart. Thank you. Blessings to you, Andrea. There's
Thank
a
you.
meme. Maybe you've seen this meme. Like, I think they are called the Care Bear and like
Yeah.
Little Bear, and they are colorful. And poof, they beam light from
the
their
belly.
heart, right? It's like, poof, and that's what the image that comes as you describe the reading for Andrea, like.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that. Yeah, when I was a kid, I had good luck there.
Yeah, let's liberate your heart to beam light and to share light, shine light. Wow. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Blessings to you. So before we take the next reading, let's mention that everyone, once you get your reading, please stay with us because we're going to take a few more readings and then we're going to have Amanda share about how she's here to help us with liberating ourselves, liberating our hearts from these contractions, right? She's created a whole program dedicated to this, the Divine Chambers of Light. We're going to talk about it in a moment, but for now,
And not only that, Sophie, I want to add as well, as you hear the readings, I love working in group because as you hear the readings, what comes through for one is also coming through for you. You know, we don't have just one heart contraction right now. We're still in a space where we're getting to the greater depths of these contractions. And I know sometimes it can feel like I've worked through layers and layers, like when is it going to be complete? We are ever expanding beings. And so we are really looking, that's why, you know, the excitement for me is like, oh, let's get to the superpowers as you were talking about, Sophie. We want to recognize what is that next level of expansion, right? It's like you don't just eat one day, you just don't drink one day and then like, check that off. I drank my water, I'm good for life, you know, like we drink our water every day, or you know, we do the certain rituals that we do every day. So just wanted to kind of bring that forward as you listen into the readings. Notice in your body what's resonating for you. Notice what you're feeling in your body. Notice if anything, you might feel something in your big toe. You know, it's like, wait a minute, that's related to what she's talking about. So just really start to take this as an opportunity to come into greater awareness of how your body's responding.
Okay, yeah. So it doesn't have to all be happening in the heart, right? Like signals may be anywhere in the body. That's interesting. So let's be very attentive and listening. And I suggest make notes. Like anything that you feel resonates for you, make notes because you're gonna want to clear all these contractions. Okay. Thank you for this precision. Let's go to Illinois with Sophia. I'm muting you, Sophia. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, Sophia. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What is my gratitude to both of you ladies? What's my number one heart chamber contraction?
Yeah, for you, I'm going to right atrium. The right atrium is our chamber of receiving. And so this is about safety. You know, can I safely receive? Is it safe for me to receive? Or is it safer for me not to need? That's what I'm being shown for you. And I see it as, it's like a shrinking in of that right atrium. It's like compressing in, you know, and like not wanting to be exposed. And there's a sense of like, well, you know, if I don't make myself visible, I'll be safer. Even if I need something, it's like maybe I can figure out how to do it myself so I don't have to expose that vulnerability. That's what I'm being shown. I'm seeing this highly linked for you to a past life, 8 past lives ago, where there were limited resources, and I just can't, it's like the sense of being yelled at for asking for what you need, like as if your needs don't matter or weren't important in that lifetime. So that's what we want to have you shifting out, because as you open that up, that's going to allow you to receive. And receiving, when we allow ourselves to receive through divine source, that can come through in so many ways physically, right? Somebody might gift us something, or it might just be that we have a need and somehow the universe provides it. I've seen this so many times, you know, where it's like this need arises and all of a sudden the solution's already there. And it's like, oh, phew, you know, like before you can even think about, oh, I need to come up with a solution, it's there when in that state of divine flow. And that's what I see wanting to open up for you as that contraction is cleared.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I guess I just need to work on figuring out what this blockage is out.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things we're going to be working. I know we're going to get to this, but in the offer, we're going to be working with each of the heart chambers and releasing the contractions in each one and opening them up to the divine sacred capacity that they have. So for the right atrium, it's not just the contraction that we mentioned for you. That is one of the ones we'll be working through, but there's going to be others as well. So anything that's preventing that capacity to fully receive the blessings that are meant to pour through you, not just kind of trickle, but pour through you. That's what we're going to open up with that. That's just one of the calls that we'll be doing in that program.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you for being with us. Love to hear
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Sophia. Yes,
Bye,
receiving.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Receiving is a game changer. I mean, once we got our receiving like healthy and open and flowing, it's like, woof, it elevates us to a whole new life experience, right? So
Yeah.
I love that this came through for Sophia and for everyone through her reading. Okay, let me take a couple requests from the Q&A. We'll come back to live callers. For Sherwood in New York, what's his number one heart chamber contraction?
Yeah, go into left atrium for Sherwood, and that's our chamber of integration or allowing, right? That's where we're really in that space of allowance for what is occurring and then integrating what we need to integrate, releasing what we need to release. What I'm seeing for you, Sherwood, is fear of success. There's a sense of if I have success, then others have to suffer, or I have to step on people to have success. Like I literally saw the boot stepping on someone's head. Now, this is linked to a past life. It's 11 past lives ago. It's a learned belief. Like that's how you succeed is by, benefiting from the pain, the suffering, the work, whatever that might be. There's different nuances within that I'm seeing here of others. So we really want you shifting that because there's this sense within you. You have such a big heart. You're like, I don't want to do that. So I just, I'd rather not have success. I'm not going to stomp on people to get my success. I'd rather not have success. So that's not to say that you wouldn't have success in your life, but it's limiting the amount of success and how you define success too. Some of us have been so conditioned to define success by certain measurable terms, whether it's money, home, whatever, possessions. So what your higher self Sherwood is showing me is to really explore what is your current definition of success and does it match what you actually feel as success for you, right? Like what's the egoic perception of what success means and what is your true definition of success and are they matching? Right?
What is divine success? Divine success. What's success to the divine, right?
Yes. Versus our humanistic success definition, right? And there may be parallels. There might be some things that overlap and work together, but often there's going to be some discrepancy. So it's really good. That's such a good comparison to make and recognize what's showing up. And then that way, again, releasing the contractions of what is required to achieve success, right? What's required. So allowing yourself to recognize that your success is independent of anybody else outside of you, right? Like that's such an important distinction that's coming through with this, that, when we shift that energy, it allows you to open up to being in the flow of what's moving through and in a whole new paradigm of what success truly can be.
Yes to that. Thank you, Sherwood. Blessings. Let's go to Hertfordshire in the UK for Rachel.
Rachel, I'm going to right ventricle for you, Chamber of Transmutation. This for you is about metabolizing pain. So what I'm seeing, I'm actually really drawn to your right hip on this one. I'm seeing that there's what looks like almost like a sack of pain that's sitting in there, and it's like I don't know what to do with this. I don't want to experience it. I don't want to feel it. So I'm just going to set it over here off to the side. All right. And hope maybe it goes away or I can figure out what to do with it, right? There's this fear or this sense of not being able to process and metabolize the pain in a way that isn't damaging or harmful, right? And so I see that link to a past life for you. It's 27 past lives ago. And I just was shown an equation, life equals pain. Like being alive, being in a physical body equals pain. So we want to just completely clear that whole equation out, right? And allow you, may you have painful experiences being in a physical body, possibly, right? Most likely, most of us have. But it's not a constant state of beingness that has to be held in the body, right? And, who knows, maybe at some point we'll reach a threshold where all pain will be completely eradicated. But for the time being, we want to recognize that is such an all-encompassing life equals pain that holds you in a state of pain consistently. And that's why it would be stored rather than metabolized, if that makes sense. So we want to have you shifting that so you can feel, you can be in the ebb and flow of emotions as they come, or the ebb and flow of the highs and lows, but remaining centered in the light of your soul through it all. That's where I see your heart just holding you through whatever you go through. And that's the power of what we will awaken when we shift that one.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. And what I heard is actually when you talked about threshold, maybe you said maybe we're going to pass a threshold where we no longer feel pain. What I heard at that moment is that pain is going to become an inconvenience. It's no longer going to be like so overwhelming or taken but an inconvenience that acts as a signal, right? Like, hey,
exactly,
right?
All pain is a signal.
Yeah, but with an intensity that is relevant to, it's when we listen to it, when we integrate it as a signal, then it doesn't have to yell and scream so loudly, right? And it becomes an inconvenience that has a purpose and that we live with because it serves us. That's what I'm getting.
Yes, and that, I think that's an important distinction too when we talk about it as an inconvenience. The distinction between it's taking me out versus being inconvenience is even going a step further. What you said, it becomes a signal. Oh wait, pain, signal. What's it telling me? Boom. Okay, I need to take time for myself, or okay, I need to take a moment and rest, or maybe it's, oh wait, I haven't been tending to, that my ankle wants to rest, or maybe my ankle needs something. And but just a perfect example of this was my one daughter had an injury, and when we stopped and looked at it, like she went, and it wasn't healing as fast as she wanted. I was like, well, let me check in, right? So I checked in with her. We did some massage with some castor oil, and it healed almost instantly. But what I had heard was that she just needed some tending, like she just needed someone to kind of just tend and show some care for her. Like that was what she was needing in the moment. So as soon as that was done, boom.
Yeah.
The physical healing was like almost instant. By the next day it was night and day difference with the swelling. It was amazing. But that's the power of, like you said, when we recognize the pain as a signal. And so I of course, I talk to my girls about when they have stuff going on, come check in, we can always scan or whatever. And so they're usually pretty good about that, but they're also in their journey of recognizing it. And that's how we are is right now within our humanistic ways of being. When we can start to recognize, oh, wait, if I have a pain and I can take a moment to really settle in and recognize what is it telling me. Sometimes it's just that we have to let it process through. We just have to give ourselves a chance to do that, or we have to be held. Sometimes we do need to be held as we process through something. So I think that's such an important distinction, and thank you for really bringing a highlight to that, Sophie.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you, Rachel. Blessings. Okay, we'll make a pause in the readings. We'll come back to have you do more brilliant readings, Amanda, but I think we want to discover it is. And already I believe we've covered all the four.
All the chambers, yeah.
Yeah, they have shown up. So now is a good time to make a pause and discover this wonderful offering that you've created Divine Chambers of Light. And we love to hear all about it. So for everyone to follow, please go to gracefulconnections.com/divine chambers. So that's graceful with 2 L's, as in full of grace, gracefulconnections.com/divine chambers in one word, all attached. If you're on the webcast, you have the button and the link on the replay. Just scroll down the page and discover Amanda's special offer. Amanda, please reveal what you've created for our audience with Divine Chambers of Light.
Yes. Oh, the feeling tone of this is so special and so precious because it really allows you to settle into who am I? Who am I truly in my heart? Not who have I been taught to be, that I should be, or how have I conditioned my body to perceive, to fit into the definitions of success, or what I should be doing, or fulfilling my responsibility, or being of service. So many of us are called through our heart to be of service to others. Usually if you're in this community, I know, Sophie, you call in those who are so heart connected and so wanting to be in that sacred communion, in the spirit of generosity and caring for one another. And when we tune into the heart, that's where we really access the elevated levels of what our soul calls uniquely through us. And so with the Divine Chambers of Light, what we're doing is it's a 4-part live immersion series. So live group calls where we get together and we're going to focus on each of the 4 chambers. So right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Each one's going to get its own call where we're diving deeper into recognize what is it that creates the contractions, that creates the protective mechanisms. So for example, and I'm not going to go through each of these individually because they're highlighted on the page that you can follow through. But for example, with the right atrium, that's our chamber of sacred receiving, which we've talked about, and reclaiming soul memory, right? So not remembering the pain that caused us to create the protective mechanisms and those kind of things, but what our soul holds is brilliance and mastery and the majesty of our own being that can be cultivated through the right atrium. So, with that, we're going to be identifying and clearing out survival and fear-based memories, dissolving any of the ancestral burden identities, like who I have to be based on what my parents have told me or what their parents told them, or those type of identities that are passed through the lineage. Any kind of karmic looping, so where we're caught in a pattern of karma that has now become a habit in the body, that's going to be dissolved. Any of that sense of having to carry the burdens for others, for self, or having to carry certain responsibilities that are perceived, right? All that's going to be cleared out and shifted, and that more expansive soul memory opened up so that you can start to reclaim your sacred soul gifts that emanate through your heart and become radiant within your body. The radiance is going to be amplified through the left ventricle immersion call, right? So these are going to be working together to really open you up. But you can look and see, with these immersions, what each one of them holds for you, what we're going to be dissolving, what you're going to be reclaiming as part of your soul brilliance. And then what we're cultivating is the celestial awakening. So what are we bringing through? What are the planetary or starlight or galactic energies that we're really cultivating through the heart space to amplify and increase the potency of the sacred gift that each of those heart chambers has for us? Okay, so with the left atrium, that's our chamber of divine reception and worthiness. So any of the false notions of what we have to do or be in order to be worthy dissolved, allowing us to really recognize that just in that we exist, we're not just worthy, but we're these brilliant divine beings, right? With the right ventricle, chamber of alchemy or transmutation, and the breath forged liberation. So really recognizing how our breath serves as sort of a freedom ignition within us, right? Our breath brings in our fresh, nourishing oxygen, and it releases waste from our bodies. So really recognizing the potency of that and how our breath mimics our reception of stellar light, and breathing in the higher, more kind of crystalline structures that can be embraced and embodied, and the capacity of our breath to deepen and open us to think of it as like an inhaling of our higher capacities into the body so that they can settle more fully in, right? And then the left ventricle, our chamber of sovereign radiance and embodied divinity. Again, we kind of touched on this, but that radiance, that really is a reflection of your soul beauty. And your soul is beautiful, right? Like there's no question, like there's no denial or retraction of that. Your soul is sensational. And so we allow that sovereign radiance to awaken within and become your embodied divinity with that call. So those are 4 live group calls. We'll come together, we'll go through different processes to clear out, to identify the paradigms that are preventing the full opening of the sacred soul capacities of those 4 chambers of light, so that they really illuminate within you as divine chambers of light, and not just shifting how your heart emanates within your body, but how it informs your body, how it shifts your body. Again, our heart really informs our nervous system, our endocrine system, all our regulatory systems of the body. And so when we have it attuned to the divinity of self, our whole body responds in kind, and our energetic system naturally upgrades to reflect the truth of what our heart brings through. So really, really beautiful. That in and of itself is super potent and amazing. But then we also want to take that a step further, right? And so we're going to have 8 days of remote activations where I'm tuning directly into your personal energy fields. And we're going to go through some of the more nuanced structures of the heart and the circulatory system, right? So we also want to look at, we're upgrading the heart and what's conducting through the heart. We also want to make sure that our circulatory vessels are matching that, right? We want to be thorough. So there's 8 different days of activations that we're going to be doing for your septum, your heart wall, between the right and left heart, your heart valves. There's 4 of those, right? Between each ventricle and atrium, there's a valve, and then between the ventricle and the lungs, the ventricle and the body, it's got a valve. So we're going to be looking at the valves and what they reflect spiritually for us, right? So as we're working with these physical components of the heart and the circulatory system, we're also tending to what they spiritually and energetically represent within us. So, as I'm tuning into the energy through these remote activations, I'm looking at what prevents them, what's messing with their physical function. What do I see energetically that's showing up that might impact the physicality of that? And then also the energetic flow and movement in and around these structures. So any of those paradigms are going to be shifted. So we're also looking at the pericardium, which is the protective sac around your heart. That's where so often we have these intensive protective mechanisms that show up energetically. So I'll be diving deep into what's showing up there for you and making sure that we're shifting whatever prevents you from really being coherent in your sovereign openness, being open and available to what wants to move through you as that light, that expression, that freedom that wants to awaken within you. The 4th one, your electrical conduction system, is one of my favorites. I worked in the medical field with pacemakers and defibrillators for a time, and so I really went deep into understanding the electrical conduction system, and it's just so special. We've got our own inherent pacemaker in our heart, so I'll be looking into that. That's your SA node. And the other structures, but that's really all about being in rhythm, being in the rhythm of what your soul wants you to be in, right? The rhythm of the cosmos, the rhythms of the planet, the rhythms of the galaxy, just really allowing all those rhythms to kind of come together and allow you to be in divine timing and in the flow of your inner guidance, listening to that without hesitation or reservation, kind of being divinely led into action. We're also going to be working with your 4 heart chambers. So, we'll have our 4 immersion calls, but, the activation is a time where I can then go in and personally look deeper into your energy fields and look at the harmonization of the chambers. How are they working together? Something that's so important is, like, for example, if we have the right atrium contracting and then the right ventricle, if there's a delay, that can create issues in the heart, right? We want all the chambers of the heart contracting together. And when I say contracting this time, I want to clarify, Sophie, not contracting like shrinking, but contracting to pump the blood out, right? So
right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about in this specific case here. But, we want the heart moving in divine synchronization. So that's really going to be the larger focus of that particular activation. But, anything else that shows up, we're going to be going a little bit deeper into what the heart is showing us with the 4 chambers as there's sacred connectivity and harmonization that's really going to serve not just your body, but really bringing more of your regal energy to the planet. What really is special that you are bringing. So we'll have that one. We're going to look at the blood vessels. That's going to be one of the activations. So really your pathways of life force and relational exchange. So this influences how you're interacting and relating to others, to your environment, to what's happening in your life, right? So really optimizing that and recognizing the flow that you're in, how you're being held through that, right? The blood vessels are the holders. They carry, they're the transporters. So we want to look at how are your blood vessels, but then also how is your overall body and energetic system holding and carrying you through. So there's going to be a parallel there. An activation for your blood. Okay, so we're going to look deeper into your blood. The blood, I mean, that in and of itself could be a whole separate program. But, but our blood it's so special. It's so special. So we're going to be doing an activation for that and really exploring, as I'm tuning in, I'm going to be looking at what is the ancestral and emotional memory that your blood is holding. And is that of highest service? Is that a match for your sovereign soul essence? And is that the most pure expression of your soul? And that's a big piece of what we're going to be focusing in on that one. And then your unified field is the last one. So, once we have everything working in harmonious coordination within the heart, we've got our circulatory system ready. We really want to open up to that subtle space of the heart, the sacred space that really goes beyond anatomical, physiological heart, and is that still point, the point where you can access anything and everything all simultaneously, right? It's where time doesn't exist anymore. That's where we really start to bring the magic in, and that's where we enhance and expand both the multidimensional realms that we can access and the multiversal technologies and realms that we can bring forward through our bodies. So that, those are going to go in succession. So 8 days of different activations where I'm tuning directly into your energy fields and making adjustments and shifts. And those will come with reflections, group reflections. So, one of the things I love to do when we do activations, it's always fascinating, Sophie, for me to watch is as I'm bringing someone to the forefront, what I witness is that when I'm working with the energy field for that person and the energy shifts, the whole group energy, I start energy for all the other, I'm like, whoa, this is so wild, right?
The
so
rippling, right? Yeah.
So I like to do the reflections as group reflections so that you can get a sense of all the shifts that have transpired and not just the ones that were happening specifically when I tuned into your energy field, because the reality is your energy shifting with each and every one that I do. And sometimes it's really subtle. Sometimes there's ones that aren't quite as impactful for you as they were for someone else. But even the tiniest shift can have the biggest difference over time. So it's nice to be able to be attuned to that. So these activations will come with those group reflections so that you can really feel into, again, what you're sensing. Just like I was saying when we do the readings here, what are you sensing when you go through and be with those reflections of what transpired and what was witnessed and what was happening during that time. So so that's what we're doing, Sophie. It's really deep. When I was putting this together, I was like, oh wow, like I was really being shown how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together to allow the infrastructure of the body to hold the light that the heart wants to bring through. So really, really just precious in how we are engaging the body and the heart together to operate as one unified whole in the endeavor of allowing the divinity of your soul to shine through you.
Yeah, wow. It is such a comprehensive program. I want to mention, I believe you didn't mention that you have included 8 guided audios that support
Yes.
the eight remote activations, right? So it is such a comprehensive program and very generously priced for such a program with all the 4 live deep dive events, that one for each of the chambers of the heart, such that wherever you have contractions, they will be addressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the activation series and the guided audios, this is really very, very solid and deep and profound program. And it comes with a PayPal for payment option available in many countries, so making it accessible even more. Thank you for creating this and really dedicating yourself and your gifts and your brilliance to our divine chambers of light of our heart. Thank you, Amanda. Everyone stay all along until the end of our time together, because we'll be sharing a special announcement at the end of our gathering. You will not want to miss this. But for now that we know how we're going to take care of all those contractions and so much more, now let's go back to more readings. If you're up to it, Amanda, are you good to go?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take, I want to go to one live caller we have here, Bindu. Let me bring Bindu on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, welcome, Bindu.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So for you, the contraction that I'm sensing is in the right atrium, and there's a sense of requiring independence. Like, I don't need anyone, I can do it myself. But there's like a stubbornness with it. Like, what I'm being shown is like a picture of your hand on your hip. Like, no, I don't need you. I'll do it myself. And I'm hearing that there's an ancestral energy. Like, so we're going back, father's timeline, 8 generations back. And it's like this learned sense of independence. And the idea being that not wanting to have to rely on anyone for anything, so that you won't be disappointed or let down, is what I'm being shown, is what's settled into the heart. And it's kind of like a void, or like a kind of like a concave energy that I'm seeing that's held in that right atrium there. So the shifting of that contraction is not so that you are now dependent on others, right? Like, that's not where we're going with the shifting of that. It's more of the releasing of, like, being totally neutral around that, like recognizing that, oh, divine is supplying me, divine source is supplying me. And that might come through as gifts from others, or someone taking care of me, or it might come through for I have my own solutions, or however it comes through, right? But it's inviting that if somebody does want to provide for you in some type of way, that you're open to receiving that. So that's what I'm seeing is the contraction that's wanting to be shifted for you.
Yes, thank you. I recognize this very much.
I totally get that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's really beautiful because, what I see opening up, and I this is what's wanting to come through as another message for you. And I'm hearing it's not just for you, but you're also serving as a conduit to bring it through for others as well, is that, sometimes we serve as a gift to others and allowing them to provide for us, or to give us, or to be available for us. Some people like it gives them great joy to do that. And when we can allow that, there's a beautiful kind of collaboration and communion that happens that uplifts everybody. So even as I say that, the new, I see your heart like starting to open in a new way, so starting to shift already. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you. Blessings.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Yeah. Do others a service by letting them help you and support you. I mean, that's for many of us, I'm sure. That's for many of us.
Yeah, I mean, that difficulty receiving, because we don't want to be a burden to others. That's really, that's a big one. That's, of course, that's one we're going to be shifting for sure.
Yeah. So we can be a network of interactions, and I help you, you help me, I help them. It doesn't even have to be one-on-one reciprocal, right? I help you, you help someone else, and everybody.
Yeah, we don't have to tally.
We don't have to measure. We don't have to do the accounting. Just let it flow as it's meant to flow, right?
Right. We trust the balance of the balance scale of divinity.
Exactly. Okay. Beautiful. Let's go all the way to Australia. Hold on. Where is my person? In Australia, Donna. For Donna in Australia. In the Q&A, on the written request.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to left ventricle. Again, that's our chamber of radiant expression. And what I'm seeing is this energy of burnout. It's like this sense of feeling I have to go, go, go. I can't stop. I can't rest. If I stop and rest, then I'm either lazy or I'm not going to get it done, or something's going to fall apart, or, whatever those perceptions are of what's going to happen if I stop and I don't just keep going and going and going. So there's that sense of burnout that I see. It's just I see this kind of withered energy that's settled into the left ventricle. And I see that linked to a past life, 8 past lives ago, where there was this sense of like having to be on the run. It was for protection. So this is definitely, it's like I'm not safe if I stop. So we want to shift that energy out, because that can have you caught in that cycle of go, 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 do, do, do. Which even just saying that, like I feel exhausted. I feel the exhaustion in my body. I was supposed to clear that out, but you know what I mean. It's like sometimes one of the most powerful things that we can do to progress in the biggest way is to sit in stillness. So we want to recognize that can be one of the most powerful ways to protect and to be of greatest service to our own selves and to those that we care about. I know for me, when I'm in creation, if I'm too busy doing things, the idea is, sometimes they'll flow through, but not as aptly. If I take even just 2 minutes to sit still, it's like, all of a sudden download, right? So that stillness is really beautiful and really important. So that's a big piece of allowing and that permission to sit still is the recognition that that's what can facilitate progression in the way that your soul wants it to progress for you.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Blessings. Let's go to Texas in Richardson for Michelle. What's her number 1 heart contraction?
Going to right ventricle, that's the chamber of transmutation. Resentment is what I'm seeing as the primary energetic tone. I see these threads of resentment. There's a sense of wanting to give, but then there's also a sense of like, but I'm not appreciated for it, right? And that feeling of being taken for granted is what I'm being shown in there. Now, I see this on the maternal timeline, going back 4 generations, and it's this sense of like having to do and just be of service and not want for self, right? Not expect for self, not expect anything in return. And so there's also a guilt energy around the resentment that needs to be shifted as well with that contraction, right? That feeling guilty for wanting, right? Of course you want to be filled up. Of course you want to be filled up. Like that's a natural energy that's meant to move through our being. And so just allowing for that to come through, because sometimes it's just a matter of appreciating ourselves. There's sometimes when I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that thing, like I really did, and that feels really great. And sometimes it is nice to hear it from others as well. But when we release the energetic tone of the resentment and the guilt, that allows for that energy to come through. And, sometimes we find appreciation in ways that we didn't imagine, but so often then we feel like we don't even need it anymore. And then it starts to come in spades. So, that's what I'm seeing, is just letting that energy go and really releasing any tendency to feel guilt or judgment towards self for what you want to receive or have or expect. Okay.
Good one. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, we're going to stay in Texas. We're going to Woodway, Texas with Regan. What's her number one heart contraction?
Yeah, I'm going to write atrium, and this is the avoidance of grief is what I'm seeing here. It's that sense of kind of shutting down or kind of compartmentalizing. Like I see this bubble of grief. It's like moving it around into different spaces to try to not have to feel it. Like it feels like it's too overwhelming, too much. Sometimes when we experience a loss of something or when we have the grief, we have to wail, we have to cry, we have to get it out of the body. Crying is actually a way to physically detox the body in a way. So, allowing yourself to experience that big emotion can actually be what allows the joy to come and fill in the place. And, it's not going to last forever. It might just be that moment of really having to allow that to come through. Now, being held, like what I see is that there's that fear of not being able to handle it. This is linked to a past life. It's 22 past lives ago. And part of the energy that I'm seeing in that lifetime is that avoidance of grief is that it was seen as weak or inappropriate to experience the grief. And so there's shame. There was a sense of being shamed in experiencing the grief. So that's a big piece of what you want to clear out for that contraction, right? So we want to get that shifted. Because in the avoidance of grief, when you're compartmentalizing and moving that energy around, you're also preventing the flow of that out of the body so that the flow of the bigger blessings and energy and light can come in more fully. Okay. So, and it's also taking up space. So, we want to have you in that flow and also in the recognition of grief is, I'm going to go back to what you were talking about, Sophie, earlier with pain, where grief is a signal. It's telling us that there's something that we need to be with, and just recognizing it as that and not something that's going to be living within us forever. And maybe I've experienced a lot of loss over the past year, and there's a recognition that it's okay to still feel the sense of longing. Or that sense of like, I'm never going to not miss somebody who's left my life in a physical form, even though I know, sometimes I feel the presence of some of these people that have moved on more, than when they were physically around. But at the same time, there's still a sense of loss, and it's okay to recognize that might be now a part of your experience in this physicality, but it doesn't have to define or overtake your body. So that's what I see, is really allowing yourself to be in that. Again, we go back to being able to experience the grief and the gratitude at the same time. Or, the fullness of everything coming through our body. We can experience it all simultaneously. And not just be okay with it, but really be in the divinity of what that feels like in a way that's hard to put into words. But you'll know it when you sense it. So that's what we're doing. We're looking at, the brilliance of what it is to feel the allness of everything. So that was kind of a long one, but but
it is a good one too. Yeah. And it may resonate with many others as well, because grief is it's a tricky thing to handle in the highest possible way.
When you say that, there's no right or wrong with the grief or with any of what is going on within the heart. There's no right or wrong with what is coming
Yeah.
through. It's just being able to be present with what's coming through. And that's a big part of when we look at the left atrium and the allowing, right? The allowing of what's coming through without judging or expectation or analyzing or any of that. Sometimes we really need that. So again, that's where these all start to work together.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for allowing us. Yeah. Ooh. Allowing us to allow our hearts. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go to St. Petersburg with Payden.
Ooh, yeah, going to left atrium. So I guess that was a perfect segue. This is an interesting one. So what I'm seeing is the self-doubt that comes in, once you've expanded. So, like if we had a breakthrough, for example, and this is what I'm seeing for you, Payden. It's like when there's a breakthrough, then it's like, wait, did I really break through? Am I gonna, is something else gonna happen? Is this really true for me? Or if you open up and you go, wait a minute, I recognize that I have a capacity to do this, and it's like, oh, do I really? Maybe I'm just like, what do my girls call it, glazing myself, or maybe I'm just glazing or whatever. But it's like, kind of that false confidence or something like that. That's what I'm seeing. It's that sense of self-doubt that creeps in. With a breakthrough or with having really expanded into something that's big or beautiful, or even the self-doubt around, this is going really well in my life. Can I sustain it? Like it's almost as if what's happening is defining your own sense of worthiness, right? Does that make sense, Sophie?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing is the contraction in the left atrium. I see it linked to a past life, 18 past lives ago, learned behavior from mom. Like this is mom's thinking very, very much in that lifetime. And so that's what I see translating through. And so this is really about not only releasing that sense of self-doubt that creeps in, but really any of the kind of definitions or conditions you have around what makes you worthy or deserving or successful, like all these definitions that we have, right? We want to shift all of those and have you really just settled into the recognition of, wow, the brilliance that's coming through me. We all have soul brilliance that moves through us. No one is exempt. No one is so special, quote unquote, that you don't have soul brilliance, right? We all have our own brilliance. It's in there. Right. And so just the recognition of allowing that to be true and then to come through. Right. And so much of that, again, I'm looking back at like that fear of visibility. That's another one that tends to live in the left atrium. So that sense of being visible in that brilliance. It's another piece we're going to be shifting out, but that's kind of, I see that kind of interwoven with that Payden. So that's another one that we'll be shifting out for you. Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let's go to Sacramento with Carol.
Oh, Carol, yes. Going to left ventricle. Again, that is our chamber of radiant expression. For this, it's like, it's like the ambition. It's like not wanting to dream too big, or that sense of like not wanting to have the goals be too big, right? It's suppressing that sense of big ambition or big dreams. Part of that is fear that I can't do it, or I can't make it happen, or it's not going to happen for me. Like it can happen for other people and I can totally believe in them, but it's not going to happen for me. Like, how could I make that happen? What I see that is, it almost looks like porous, like little holes, like holes poked in the energy of the ventricle, where it's almost like a oh gosh, why is the word like a colander, where you put it in and you drain the noodles or whatever. like that's what it's looking like, where it's like the energy kind of drains out, right? I see that linked with a past life. It's 12 past lives ago, and there's a questioning. It's actually an identity questioning of, like, I see Dad kind of pointing a finger at you in that lifetime, like, who are you? Who are you to do this? Or who do you think you are? Kind of like that suppression pushing you down, diminishing your value. So that's what we want to shift, is that contraction in the left ventricle, and bring you back into the truth of, I mean, you're all powerful, right? You have superpowers, as Sophie mentioned earlier, superpowers, to manifest and to create and to bring into fruition that which you can envision, right? If we are envisioning something, there's a reason we're envisioning it, and we have the capacity to bring it into fruition. It's just a matter of aligning our soul blueprint with our body blueprint, so our body is unified in the creation of that. And so that's what we're seeking to bring through with the left ventricle immersion call and the clearing out of that contraction for you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Blessings. Let's go to Ontario, Canada with Barbara.
Yeah, I'm going to right atrium. The receiving one, this is a big one. It keeps coming through, the receiving. But for this, it's more of like, I see almost like the rounded shoulders and kind of like the compressing in, like the shrinking in. What I'm hearing is it's not wanting to be exposed, right? Not wanting to be exposed and really open. That's linked to a past life. It's 10 past lives ago. And what I'm seeing there is that there's a sense of it's not safe to feel or receive the love and support that I truly desire. Like there's a sense of not wanting to be needy, not wanting to be too needy is how it's showing up. And so there's like that shrinking in, that sense of kind of shrinking back, and like I almost see like it's like if you need something, it's like kind of like raising the finger, like wait a minute, can I get something? That's the energy that I'm seeing. So we want to shift that contraction out and have you really open up to being expanded and being open. And again, the recognition of the reception. Oh, this is interesting, because what's coming through as I'm looking at it now is coinciding with this is a sense of not wanting to receive and then take from others. Like if I receive it, then they can't have it. And so that we also want to shift that perception with this, that there is a finite amount of resources, right? Divine is infinite. Whatever we can conceive of, we can create and bring into fruition through grace, right, Sophie, through grace, and divine nourishment. And so just really allowing yourself to open to that as higher truth that replaces that sense of not wanting to be too needy.
Yes, I love what is coming through all those readings. Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. And thank you, Barbara. Blessings. Okay. Well, we can't have all, there's many more requests. We can't have them all directly served, but I'm absolutely sure that everyone listening live and on the replay was served by the readings, if only one insight. But I'm sure many more, because there's such a richness to your readings, Amanda. So thank you so much. Before we get to our special announcement, I want to wrap up Amanda's special offer, Divine Chambers of Light, to awaken the intelligence of your heart and embody your crystalline coherence. So it includes the 4-part immersion series. That's 4 live deep dive group calls, and with the replays, of course, to address each of the 4 chambers of the heart, chambers of light, right? So one call dedicated to each of the chambers and clearing all those contractions and doing so much more work. You have all the details on the special offer page. So these 4 live calls plus the 8-day intensive remote activation series, along with 8 guided audios supporting this series. Go to gracefulconnections.com/divine chambers, all in one word, divine chambers. If you're on the webcast, you have the button or the link. Click there. If you're on the replay, just scroll down the page and discover all the details of this very rich and abundant special offer and join there as well. Thank you, Amanda, for creating this program for everyone. Let's get to our special announcement. In addition to this tremendous program, Amanda is generously offering a fast action bonus for any purchases by Sunday, March 1st at midnight Pacific. Amanda, please tell us about your fast action bonus, the Heart Radiance Invocation.
Yes. So what we're going to be uncovering is the number one disturbance in your heart chambers that's been dimming and inhibiting your soul divinity. So you're probably going, well, you've been doing reading on contractions. How is this different? So what this is we're really going deeper into, I talked about the multiversal realms of being that we can access. So really going into what is disrupting the capacity to access those expansive realms of being that allow the fullness of your soul divinity to really settle into the heart and be available as a consistent vibrational resonance within. So we're going to uncover what's the number one disturbance that is not allowing for that, because when we open that up, that allows for the contractions to be dissolved much more efficiently, right? And much more thoroughly. And so we're going to be getting clarity for you on what that disturbance is. So I'm sure you're probably like, well, I'd love to know what mine is. I don't want to just experience, like, I'd love to know what it is, and really start to recognize what's coming through in addition to the Sacred Soul gift that can open up once that is resolved, right? So that's the other thing that we're going to be bringing in. You're going to get an audio reading sent to you that includes what that number one disturbance was, right? And the revelation of the Sacred Soul gift that's been dormant in that heart chamber where that disturbance has been living, right? We'll bring in a combination of sacred geometry and celestial light essences and anything else that's required for that heart chamber and anywhere else in your systemic body. So, I talked about you might be sensing something in your big toe. So if there's any nuances related to that disturbance throughout the body or your body's energetic field, so your aura, your chakras, the nadis, the subtle energies associated with your body system, will address those as well. We'll use the combination of the sacred geometry and the celestial light to help resolve that so that that soul gift can come online. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
I am too. Oh, wow.
To see what comes through, to share that with you. And when we do this, the heart radiance invocation, when you are living in the flow of your soul gifts, I know this from personal experience. I know, Sophie, you know this. It is a very different way of living life. It is so special, and it allows you to be more in the flow of your heart and what your heart is calling forward, rather than the mind getting in the way or life getting in the way, right? We all have those things. I mean, single mom of 2 kids, there's a lot of life getting in the way if I let it, but being able to have these sacred soul gifts in the heart and allow those to drive what wants to come through is a huge part of what keeps that centeredness and allows all the things that come up. We all have things. Whether it's with family, friends, our own life, stuff happening in the house, whatever it might be that comes up that can take us off center of really living in the faith and the truth that we are held, that we are divinely provided for and supported and nurtured and nourished. And so this really allows you to be settled into the space of the sacred soul gift that replenishes you in service to others as well, right? So I can't wait to see what wants to come through the chamber of the heart for you, and really, a piece of this is going to be how is that gift of service to you, and to, whoever else, whatever else, if it's the planet, the environment, so on, it's meant to serve. So I'm really excited. Having something like this come through is a game changer, and your body craves to live in alignment with your soul calling. That's what fosters the greatest vitality within your body being. And this reading alone is a profound way to ignite that within your being at the physical level. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what comes through for you. So
very intriguing, very intriguing. I hope we'll have a conversation, you and me, Amanda. I want to know about those gifts that are going to go
right
when they come through, because this is so intriguing. And one thing I want to share about the gifts is that yes, life happens, and the thing is, we may have this attitude that, I can't, take care of developing my gift or discovering or embracing or doing my soul purpose or my soul gift because I have to take care of family or because I have to do this and because I have that. But actually, it's the other way around. And when we were chatting just before we started the event, and I was sharing about how things I have going on in my own life at the moment with family, being sick and everything, and what happens for me, I just experience it day after day after day, is the way I am empowered to take care of family and take care of all the things around me, and the way I keep my sanity and the way I keep myself in a good physical and emotional and mental and spiritual shape is by doing my gift and my soul purpose work. That's what day after day after day replenishes me and nourishes me and allows me to be available for family and for other things in life. Does that make sense, Amanda? It's really the flipping the perspective that we may have, that daily life and things of life may stop us from doing our purpose. It's actually the other way around. As we do our purpose and embrace our gifts and use our gifts day after day after day, that's what allows us to be superpowered, to be empowered with our superpowers for those other things of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, a nuance of this is that typically with what I've seen in the heart chambers, and what I'm looking at in terms of the soul gifts that are coming through, is that there's a tendency that you have for doing things. And a gift that you have, we kind of touched on this earlier, that you don't even realize it's a gift because it's so natural. And so what I'm really looking at with this gift, one of the intentions behind it is, what is that gift that really nourishes your mind, body, and soul in being in that sovereign space of energy that then allows you to be of greatest service with your purpose? So it's something that really is nurturing and nourishing for your body and your heart.
Yeah.
And so that's a distinction, because there's so much that lives within us that is so special and such a blessing. And when we allow ourselves to step into the gift that nourishes our own being, it allows us to then give from a space of feeling full, right? We're not giving from a space of depletion or of lack or something, or like of sacrifice, right? That's something that so many of us have been conditioned to. And so this is really about giving from the overflow that's pouring through you, because you've allowed this gift to live inside of you.
Yeah. Oh, you've put it so wonderfully. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Oh, wow. Thank you. And I love this fast action bonus. I mean, yes, heart radiance invocation, which is it's much more than a reading, right? It's the reading along with the ignition. You reveal the gift, but you ignite it as well. And so, wow, I'm curious how the whole world is going to shift when all those gifts come online and are embraced, revealed and embraced. So Fast Action Bonus expires on Sunday, March 1st at midnight Pacific. Make sure you get yours because that's very unique and special. Thank you, Amanda. You have shared so much. Is there anything else? Are there any closing words that you would like to add and to share with us?
Your heart called you here. If you're here listening, your heart called you to this space. That's what our hearts do, right? When we listen to our heart, I've had times when I've listened to my heart, it didn't make sense. And I did it anyways, and it led me to the most beautiful things that have happened. All the most beautiful things, all the most profound and prolific experiences and openings and awakenings have been from listening to the heart. And so we want to cultivate the habit of paying attention to what our heart is speaking to us. And a big piece of doing that is releasing the things that prevent our heart from being, really fully present and online within us, in our physicality. Where now we're just the heart speaks, we listen. The language of the heart, we're listening, our body's listening to the language of our heart, rather than the language of our fears that may have been cultivated over time. So, really just the most important work we can do for our bodies in this lifetime, in our physicality, is deep within our heart. It's why there are so many people who create programs and have focus on working with the heart. And when we do it in a distinct way of really recognizing the profound beauty and genius that our heart provides for us physically, spiritually, and beyond, and we are in the honoring of what our heart can bring forward for our body, the rest of our body then works in conjunction to really exercise its own genius and how it supports our heart opening even more. So I can't wait to really see what wants to open and expand through this. And this is really, has the potential to create a catalytic shift in the collective consciousness of all those who are involved. Whether it's through this call, the deeper work, the heart work is so special and it's so important. And so I'm grateful to be able to be a facilitator in this way with what we're doing here. And I look forward to all of those of you who feel the call and jump on in.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for stepping forward to be such a champion of our hearts. Yeah.
I love that.
You should have a t-shirt made just for that. Thank you. Oh, wow. Let's just take a moment to return to the awareness of the orb of grace surrounding us, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have discovered, experienced, received today, all that we're not even yet aware we have received, allowing it to sink in, to settle in, as we are held in the orb of grace for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I close now with deep gratitude to all of you, whether you're here live or on the replay. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your heart, really. Yes, thank you. Infinite gratitude to our brilliant expert, Amanda Hopkins, for all the wisdom, the illumination, the clairvoyant clarity and insights and sacred offerings you've shared with us today. Thank you, Amanda.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sophie.
My pleasure as well. And gratitude. Well, gratitude to our hearts. Let's all take a moment to give gratitude to our hearts, no matter in what shape they are at the moment, no matter what the contractions they are enduring. Let's give them gratitude. And gratitude to the Orb of Grace for holding us in this safe, sacred sanctuary for our exploration today. Gratitude for all the grace blessing us at every moment, offering nourishment, healing, and insights we open our hearts to receive. Yes. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide and protect us, and to the all-pervading divine presence. Until we meet again soon, may graceful blessings shower upon us all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amanda, and goodbye for now.